I just randomly noticed there's a bench in a forest. So I thought I'd sit down and answer some of those questions you submitted about Finland. It's not very quiet because there's a road quite close and it's windy, so I hope it's not popping too much, but we'll see. Anyways, let's get to the questions. And the wind is probably ruining the audio. We'll see. I'm trying to cover the microphone a bit. So Cosmic Debris asked how bright the aurora borealis is where I am, and to be honest, they are quite rare on the area where I am. I'm not living very far north, so it's lucky to catch those, but it can be anything from very dim green light on the sky you might mistake for a tiny cloud, to very strong ones you can see very clearly. So it really depends, but those clear ones are somewhat rare. Kai Lennartson asks, what is my favorite season? It depends on the weather, really. The wind, my face is falling down. In general, it's winter and summer, but it highly depends on the weather. If the winter is very dark, and by dark I mean there's not snow, then I don't like the winter, and then it's definitely summer. But in general, I hate them kind of like in between seasons, like spring and autumn, because during the spring there's a lot of these kind of like, oh, the spring is here, and then then there's another winter coming, and it sometimes takes time, and especially if it's rainy, it's really muddy and disgusting. Same with the autumn, the daylight is kind of disappearing during the autumn, and it's just usually very dark and muddy season, and I don't really like it because of that. So yeah, but I mean, the snow makes the winter seem so much brighter, even though the daylight can be something like 4 hours. And the snow makes such a big difference. That's why it's depending on the weather, summer or winter. Gabriel Phelps asks, am I correct in thinking Finns are well acclimatized in the cold, that it doesn't affect them mentally? Can't really speak for every Finn. I know there's a lot of people in Finland, Finnish people, who don't like the cold, but in general we are really used to the cold weather, and we know it's gonna pass at some point. So it's just the thing. We are living in a country that has very clear 4 seasons, so it really is how it is. But yeah, I do know Finnish people who absolutely hate cold weather, so you know. But it's not a anomaly for us. And I know that we do have seasonal depression and stuff like that here. So it's not like we are completely immune to the dark and winter and cold. It's just we're probably way more used to it than someone who's living, I don't know, in Spain or something. I think I'm gonna move somewhere else. It's really windy here and my butt is freezing. So I'll continue the questions somewhere else, probably inside. Oh, hello. My shoes have been traveling apparently a bit. Oh, hello. Hello. She stole my glove. Hey, Rosa. Okay. Let's open the. Hello. Yes. Sylvi, tuo tänne. Tuo tänne. Kiitos. Hyvä. Odota. Hienoa. So I am back home. It was a bit windy and oh, hello. The wind was really cold and I just needed to come indoors. Oh. Thank you for the very, very intimate kiss. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is now a doco video. Yes. Yes, you are a good girl. So let's go back to the questions. So the first part was really mostly about nature. Then there was also a couple of education-related questions, and Keith asks, at what age is music taught or available in school? Are there band or choir programs? Sadly, here in States, music is being left behind in schools. So, music classes are, like general music classes, are available since the first grade when you go to school, but apparently it's only once a week probably or something. We also have kind of like schools that have extra music, and you can even start playing an instrument through the school. They will get a teacher there, and obviously you will pay for the lessons, but the kind of school takes care of that, and the teacher comes to the school. That's how I started playing flute. First I was going to the lessons available through my school, and choir was a big part of that school for us. Everyone had to attend. There was also a school band you could participate in. Can't really remember much, but it was after I had played flute for about 2 years or something, so it wasn't available immediately when you started playing an instrument. At least when I started, it was 3rd grade. I went through a kind of like application process, and we had entrance exams or whatever they are called. So it wasn't like you could just start there for us, but you had to sort of prove you have some sort of musicality. Those classes technically are quite expensive. Not for the children. The school is free, but for government it's a bit more expensive program, because they have more music lessons, and kind of the teachers need to be more educated in music and all that stuff. So it's apparently that's still quite a small thing here, unfortunately. But we do have kind of like separate music institutes, both private and government supported institutes where you can start playing or singing. And that's where I actually moved after 2 years of playing the flute through the school provided lessons, basically. And usually those have some sort of application process, not all of them, but especially government supported music schools have that kind of exam process. But yeah, that's basically how it works. So then Sand Experiment says, my friends want to move to Finland because they believe education system is very good there, very human oriented and very well organized. Is it true? Obviously I don't have any comparison. I've only studied here. I've been to 3 different universities, 2 for music and 1 for tech. From these experiences, it's definitely well organized, and the education is in general really good in Finland. Even in some global scales, Finland is really good place to study. I don't really have anything bad to say about my tech studies, for example. It just wasn't the thing for me, but it was really a good university where I went to. But yeah, I don't really have comparison, unfortunately, to other countries, but I do believe our system is really good from my own experience in general. Then there are other kind of questions about Finland or living in Finland or traveling to Finland. Christian Meyer asks, are there specific no-nos or tips you might recommend? He's traveling to Finland and would like to know if there's something he shouldn't do or something like that. In general, we Finnish people, we really appreciate our personal space. Basically standing too close in a queue in general, like in grocery store or wherever, is uncomfortable. And you might have seen that picture about Finnish people kind of waiting for a bus in a bus stop during a winter. I will leave it here if it's if I can find it. One thing, when you use public transportation, buses or trams or whatever, if there are empty kind of like seats, there are usually double seats, and if there are like empty seats, you really shouldn't sit next to someone else. That's really just weird in most cases and awkward in general. Also, we Finns are not very good on small talk. We might seem rude when we kind of don't engage in a small talk situations. We also, when in a conversation, we might just be quiet. If there's nothing to say, we don't feel like we need to fill the quietness. If there's nothing to say, we just hang out, and that's really normal also. Apparently that's not a thing in other cultures. Apparently we are really fine with silence, really. So we don't feel like we need to be talking all the time. Poet has a question about energy and cars. Are electric cars used a lot there? Is public transport also electric? And he wants to know if Finland invests heavily in alternative resources or renewable energies. In general, when compared to other countries where I've been to, like UK and Germany, if you compare the like traffic, we have quite old cars in general out there compared to some other countries at least. So we don't really have that many electric cars like around currently. There are some. I think one of the biggest issues is the distances might be quite big, especially up north, and it's just electric cars kind of don't make sense, really. A lot of people use hybrids. If you live in an apartment building, you might not have a place to charge the car. For example, we don't have that possibility where I live. So it's not very common yet, but people are kind of slowly moving to electric cars, and actually our government supports people upgrading to new electric cars by paying some amount of money to those people who buy or lease for at least 3 years. So slowly we are moving towards that. Then there was the public transport. Where I used to live, at least some of the buses were electric ones. At least where I'm living now, they are not yet. They are using gas, not the petrol gas, but just, what is it called? Kind of like gas. Daniel asks, given that Finns drink so much coffee, what can the world learn about coffee from them? Oh man. Unfortunately, it's quantity over quality in here, mostly. The basic or most bought coffee is very light roasted, not, in my opinion, not very great coffee. A light roast just reminds me of dishwater or something. It's not that great. A lot of workplaces offer coffee for free. I don't know if that's normal in other countries. Some places might have like a coffee fund where people chip in, and for example, the milk will be covered from that fund and the coffee will be covered from that fund or something. From my experience, at least, where I've been working, non-music related stuff at least, it has been free. Let me know if you want more videos like this, where I answer questions about something like living in Finland or something specific about Finland or something. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great day and see you next time. Bye bye. Excuse me, lady. What are you doing with my shoe?
What you doing with my shoe, baby? What you doing with my shoe?
You don't know anything about it.